Hey. Hi, hello, and how's it going? It is her to she, it is me, it is I, Millenia Decade, and...
My name is Alix with an I.
And what is this?
Oh, this is...
What is this? Where am I?
And this is Café
Con glitter. Ew. Oh my gosh, Alex. So it's finally happening. We are here in our studio in Armona.
If you don't know where that's at, nobody does. So
Armona is how many minutes away from Hanford?
about 5.
And if you don't know where Hanford is, how many minutes away from Fresno?
About 30. And if you don't know where Fresno is,
I don't blame you.
nobody does.
Okay, so here we are. We're doing a podcast. This is kind of out of my element, I feel, even though I'm the one talking the most right now.
This is out of my element.
Is it? Because you were really excited to start a podcast.
I used to make YouTube videos back
did.
in the day. Talking a little bit about myself, as everybody does.
He was a vlogger. He was an influencer. Okay, so how did this podcast come to be? Because I think this happened because of you.
Me?
You.
Oh. I think it's just because we have so much conversations about different things, and I thought that it would be cool to have a straight guy and a drag queen talking. No, I think it's just different perspectives. I think since I've met you, we've learned so many different things about each other, and I just learned so many things from you that I had no idea were going on. You bring in this different perspective about like drag and gender identity and orientation, and I think our conversations were really meaningful, and I think we had different thoughts on some of the same topics, and we shared a lot of similar things. So I was like, hey, we should start a podcast, and you were like, yeah, and I was like, okay.
I just like to talk about like feelings and purpose, and who, like, did you know that Suge Knight, you know what Suge Knight did?
He said feelings, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, he doesn't like to talk about his feelings, but he does like to talk about his feelings. And I feel that not a lot of people are open to being vulnerable and talking about that kind of stuff. Like, I find it very draining when conversations are just superficial. Like, I just tune out. But I feel that, I don't know if it's like the years of therapy you took, but you're just very naturally open to having these conversations. And even sometimes my boyfriend is like, I can see him like zoning out, and I'm like, that's an Alex conversation. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna talk to Alex about that.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I was going to therapy. I've been going to therapy since I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 20 years now. It's a lot of practice and a lot of like, I used to hate it. But
I feel that resulted in you being very self-aware.
Yeah.
Like super self-aware, that I feel like very comfortable just talking to you about anything. That's how this happened. Like, we're basically, because you said our conversations are basically therapy. And then when I decided to go to therapy, I was like talking to this lady, and I'm like these are the conversations I have with Alex. Like, so I guess it is very like therapeutic. And I don't know, we really do cover different topics, like from music to like our interests to you helped me learn about straight culture and girls. And then I talked to you about makeup and Britney Spears. And
it's so interesting for both of us to look at a picture and then for you to point out like 1,000 things that I had no idea were going on in the picture.
Like,
I'm just like, oh yeah, she looks great.
I think that's like a big example of like what our dynamic is. Sometimes I look at something and I think in my head, I don't know, like to me, everything that stands out, I'm like, everybody sees it. And then I mention a few things to you and you're like, I would have never thought that by looking at that. And I'm like, well, what do you see? And then I see your perspective, and I think that's what helped me see that everybody just kind of perceives the world differently.
Yeah.
and everybody has their own world in their head. And then sometimes I feel that's why people assume other people think the same way they do, or they take things personally, or I don't know, they kind of project their own feelings or intentions onto this other person. And it's like, no, everybody speaks their own language almost, and not everybody takes the time to learn it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how this podcast started.
Yeah, that's how it started.
Well, Millenia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. Millenia or Johnny?
Who are you?
Who am I?
Spaces out.
Yeah, Millenia Decade. I started doing drag in 2013. I actually was born in Los Angeles, California, and
Me
then
too.
from there, I grew up. My childhood I was in Pomona, California, up until like I was 23, 24-ish, and then I moved here to the Central Valley. So at the beginning, it was very hard to adjust because I was just used to the city life.
I'm a city girl.
I'm a city girl. No, I made the same mistake that a lot of people do, and there's a lot of people from my experience that I've talked to that come from like different countries or different areas, and they think all of California is the same. And then I was like, yeah, so when I moved to Visalia, it's gonna be like here, but it wasn't. And I think as time progressed, I realized how different it was. When I realized how different it was when the elections came up and I saw all my neighbors had like Trump signs around me, and I was like, well, fuck. Yeah, it's pretty conservative around here. At first it was very hard to adjust, but I think I ended up finding my footing and my purpose, and I feel like this is my home now, and I feel like it gives me a sense of purpose. I work at an LGBT center, and I feel that I'm doing work that matters, and I'm bringing representation or visibility, or bringing kind of hope to the youth and people around here who maybe have lived here and never moved out. I think to me, where I used to live when I did drag, I was just one of the girls or whatever, like everybody was doing it. You could walk down the street, nothing happens. And then coming here, you kind of mentioned it, and you were like, it's like you're in the front line, you're visible, you're here in this area where it's not accepted or welcomed, but yet you still do it, and you bring like entertainment and joy. And then it changed my perspective in what I do. So it went from me just kind of like going out there and being dumb and having fun to, yeah, it is a statement, and it brings visibility, and it's more important than what I thought it was at the beginning.
Like I said, I've never met anybody that did drag, but in my eyes, I see a huge advocacy piece in it. Like huge, like representation is so important to me. So I think that's what stands out to me when we talk about it. And you're just like, oh, I just go out and dance, and I'm like, you're doing more than dancing.
He literally did that to me. Mad. He was like, you do more than just put on makeup. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, I was like, okay, I am the chosen one.
I got mad.
You did.
I was like,
but it made me snap. It made me realize, honestly, because nobody ever put it to me like that. And you're the one who made me realize, well, wow,
because you got a whole award for being out there. Let's talk about how you're not good with compliments. So you do drag here in the Central Valley, in a conservative town, where it can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
So much so that you don't even like to drive.
I don't.
And drag.
No, and this one time that I did, I went after I was done performing in Fresno. I came to your house in drag, and then my GPS like got lost, and I was like, fuck, I'm gonna get shot in these fields. I'm gonna be lost. I'm gonna be in 48 hours. I'm gonna be wigless. My wig's gonna be in a telephone wire.
Oh my god.
But no, it's pretty anxiety ridden.
Okay, so you do drag in the Central Valley, and you have anxiety.
Yeah.
That sums up Millenia.
But that's why I appreciate you coming to like my shows and stuff. Like once I met you, like I've never been alone anymore. And then I appreciate that, like having you always helping me zip me up, buy me something, check in, or collecting tips. Like everybody deserves a helper, honestly. And you made me also realize how much work it really is, because I used to just be like, yeah, it's part of the thing, like whatever. I don't know who you were telling, but you were like, it's more than just put. He's like the
I
number
don't
one
know.
advocate for drag. I
Who
don't
was
know.
I telling?
You told
I
someone,
don't remember.
but you were like, drag is more than just going on stage and dancing. They gotta do their makeup, they gotta do their hair, they gotta choose the outfit, they gotta choose the song, they gotta
Oh,
put their makeup on.
I was doing a presentation.
Oh, and he popped off.
Yeah. It's because people think it's just like, you know, oh, they just put something on and then they go out there and dance. And it's like, no, like, I saw you in a wig cap running around.
Right. With no heels on, and it sounded like a duck running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like just the amount of makeup, and like, I just learned that you wash your wigs in detergent.
Yeah, because yesterday Jaime and Alex were like, your wigs smell nice. I was like, yeah, because I wash them.
And I was
and
like,
then
what?
He legit was like, what? When do you do that? I'm like, well, once they're dirty. I was like, with what? I'm like, detergent. And he's like, when do you find the time to do that? I'm like, well, just put them in my bathtub.
Like, I've known you for 2 years and I've never heard of you washing.
Hey Johnny, what are he said, you've never been like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm washing my wigs.
Because then I would have been like, oh, that's cool, like you wash your wigs. No, but yeah, I didn't know how much work is put into it. And then so much so that you're like a DJ. You have to create mixes, you have to pick songs, you have to cut them out, down to like the technical things, I think. So yeah, I didn't know how much was into it.
And then
so when people say, oh, it's just, you know, this, and I'm like, it's not just that. It's like so many pieces that people don't get. And that makes me mad.
What an ally. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. What about you? Tell us a little bit about Alix, who he is, where he grew up, what you've been through, what you've learned.
You didn't have all those questions.
I'm the interviewer.
My name is Alix with an I, spelled A-L-I-X.
Hi, Alix.
Thank you. With an I, you have to say that.
Oh, Alix with an I. That's the full name, Alix with an I.
Alix with an I. No, I was also born in Los Angeles, in a little town called Sylmar, California. And I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Selma, California, which sounds almost the same.
I think that's why I got confused.
So it's in Fresno County, again in the Central Valley. That's where I grew up. And then I moved to this agricultural town because of dairy working. My stepdad was dairy working. But yeah, I was actually assigned female at birth. I am a transgender man. I've been in my transition, I would say all my life, just because it started so young. But I've been on hormones and stuff like that for about 8 years now, 7 or 8 years, I forget. But I also work at an LGBT center. That's crazy.
You do.
I do.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it's interesting because sometimes when I go out places, they're like, "Why do you work there? You know, you're straight." And I'm like, so. But not everybody knows that I'm trans. I don't just say, "Hey, my name's Alix with an I and I'm transgender." I don't do that. So, but you know,
you just say, "Hey, I'm Alix with an I."
Yeah. I think my go-to saying is like, "Hey, what's up?"
Very straight to the point. He's an Enneagram 1. We'll cover that in a future episode.
But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I grew up. It was kind of hard. It was hard growing up. My mom worked in the fields, and then in the night she would be a waitress. My dad was kind of in and out. He's here now though. He's very supportive. He's a really cool guy.
He gave you 2 chickens.
He gave me 2 chickens. No, my dad has been very supportive in my transition. He's always been there. He tries really hard. He makes sure to correct himself if he messes up, still to this day. You know, he wasn't there as much, I think, as he wanted to be when I was a kid, but as an adult, he's very much, you know, present. And my mom, I don't really talk to her that much. We've kind of had a difficult relationship when it came to coming out and my transition, and just, it was, you know, sometimes when people don't work on themselves, they take it out on other people, and I think that was the case. So it was a little hard, and I think that's why I started therapy so young, because I was like, oh well, one, my mom took me to fix me, right, so I can get fixed. As
Meaning what?
because at the time I was assigned female at birth, so I was like, oh, I like girls, and she knew when I was at a young age, she knew because she asked me. So she took me to therapy so I could get fixed, along with church. She got into church, things like that. But it turns out that I'm not gay or a lesbian. It turns out that I'm just a straight guy. So, but yeah, there was that, and it was a little hard. I have a bunch of siblings that I'm very proud of. I love them very much. My family is like really, really important to me. I try to be there for them as much as I can. And it feels like I've always been a parent growing up. I think we've shared a little bit about that, both of us, because when you're an older sibling, you and your parents are not emotionally present or you know, great in their mental health, you end up being the parent. So yeah, me and my sister after me, we kind of, both of us grew up kind of taking care of each other, then taking care of our siblings. And then I have two siblings too with my dad, and I'm very proud of them. And I didn't grow up with them as much as I would have liked, but we're really cool, and they've all been very supportive of me and my transition. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what else you want to know.
What's your favorite car?
I really want a truck or a Honda.
A Honda what?
Honda Civic.
What color?
Black. Tinted windows.
Oh, that's why you keep getting tickets.
Yeah. I got one. But I have a goal to get a car in the next couple of years, actually.
Well, thanks for sharing a little bit about you. A lot of it about me. I think that's why, I don't know, I think we have a lot of differences, but we have a lot of the same experiences too. And I think that's why we wanted to start this podcast, because we see things so differently, but have gone through a lot of the same things. And you know what? I'm kind of just thinking about this right now, but I think maybe people do have a lot of similarities out there. It's just that nobody really takes the time to kind of reflect or have that self-awareness or understanding of others. I feel that if people put in the work like that, there would be a lot of relationships like this where it's very different, but somehow there's commonality and understanding. Just a theory.
But yeah, that's the. How old are you, Millenia? Oh, we want to talk about age?
Yeah, I'm 21. How old are you?
Dead.
No, I'm 32.
Same. Yeah, we're the same age.
Yeah, there's a lot of people our age who are like, oh my god, I'm getting old. I feel embarrassed to say my age, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to be one of those people that are like old and ashamed of their age, or trying to hide it, or trying to reverse, or thinking that their best days are behind them because they're not young.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. A lot of people think like, oh, I hit this plateau and that's it. But I've never felt, I think, better than I have now. I mean, other than working so much.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, with time comes wisdom, comes lived experience, and it just results in like a better way of living, because you have life more figured out, yourself more figured out. I wouldn't want to go back. I feel like I'm the happiest or in the best place I've been.
Yeah.
The only way that it could be better for me is if my immediate family from LA moved over here, but that's not gonna happen. but no, it's great. Like I'm the happiest I think I've ever been. I know myself the most right now. The only thing I need help with is direction in life.
The only thing I need help with is life.
Life is great. I just need help with life.
The way you word things and then I word them the way I hear them is like
I crack up every time. What was it that you said? What we said?
you're really worried about a celebrity.
Yeah, I'm really worried about Peso Pluma, but that's another episode. So, where do you see this podcast going? What are your hopes for it? What do you think we should do?
My hopes
Is it going to
are
get canceled after one episode?
probably. My hopes are that we, like I said, representation is so important to me. So my hope is that somebody sees this and sees themselves in us and knows that they're not the, because sometimes when you go through something and you feel something, you're like, I'm the only one. It's like, no, you're not the only one. You're not crazy. A lot of people feel this way. So I think that's my hope. I hope to educate people on different topics. I hope to talk more about mental health. I just hope to show representation to folks. I think that's one of my biggest goals in life, is because I didn't see anybody that looked like me, that sounded like me, that acted like me growing up. If I would have, then I would have been like, oh shoot, like I'm not crazy. Nothing's wrong with me. That's my hope for it. I don't know. What is yours?
Mine is to be able to spend time with you, continue to form a strong bond because I love you and I appreciate you and you love
Oh my
compliments.
God.
Look at him getting
hate
red and
this.
getting his coffee because he's feeling awkward. No, I wanna. You've kind of made me realize about representation too, you know, and especially here in the Valley, I want to be able to be like, yeah, you have these brown man and drag queen here in the Valley doing the thing, and you're not the only one out here, and yeah, it's kind of rough and it sucks sometimes, but you know what, you're not alone type thing. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too. It might not go anywhere.
It stays in our Mona. Okay, well, I guess this concludes our
Very first episode.
pilot episode. That was me as an airplane.
Oh, I thought you were Lil Kim.
This concludes our first episode. We just kind of wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about what this podcast is all about. Why Café con Glitter? Oh, actually, we didn't even explain the title. Why Café con Glitter?
I like coffee.
And I like glitter.
And
That's it. It's the perfect combination of Alix and myself.
Don't forget to follow us on our social medias.
Yeah, so you can subscribe to this channel to continue watching future episodes, and you can follow me at Millenia Decade.
And you can follow me at Alix with an I spelled out.
All right.
Alix with an I-91.
Well, thank you so much, Alix, for having me today. I appreciate the invitation to your show.
Oh, this is our show.
Oh, our show.
Yeah, this is our show.
Well, thanks, bro.
We're done. Episode 1.